Hello, and it's the Warpforge with a 40k and chill video for you all. I was going to do this while I worked on projects such as these beauties, which I will go up to later. But at the moment I'm just saying a disclaimer, this is probably not safe for work and probably 18 or over. Just in case, you know, there's going to be strong language involved, and I have a drink. Red, because blood for the blood gods, goes for the skull thrower and all that jazz. So, without further ado, I have a ton to discuss about, and we'll see what we'll get through. So, what was I working on? I was going to do this while I was working on something on these, which is the first one. I'll let you know the names after I've shown both. But yeah, as you can see, the little corpse bit in the middle. That was meant to be the highlight of the whole base, but there was so many areas where you could just see underneath. I just needed to cover it up, and it looks like the bodies are just getting crammed in there. So it looks slightly better, but the green stuff is actually liquid green stuff as well, because those are air holes within the wings, which was a bit quite annoying if I'm honest. But hey, Forge World Resin, as most people call it. As you can see, the body's a bit less subtle here, with the axe sticking out as the brain cells go towards the limb for its last commands, as the Contemptor is mercilessly walking over, crushing bodies underneath his iron boots. So, I'm calling these the Brothers Grimm. It's a nice gothic-y name for gothic fairy tales and all that, which fits within the high-end gothic horror vibe of the Night Lords. And I thought, you know what, it sounds fucking badass, it looks fucking badass, we're doing this shit. At the moment, I'm leaving the arms off because I'm waiting for magnets to come, because I'm going to magnetize it all. I'm going to magnetize out the shoulder and the arm joints, about there, and I'm going to magnetize them because I want multiple varieties of poses and weapons. For example, I'm having two pairs of fists on each. One's going to have an inbuilt flamers, and the other's going to have inbuilt multi-guns, because as I've shown on Google Plus and the Facebook page, the other Contemptor that I have, the Plastic Betrayal Calth one, already has inbuilt multi-guns inside the fists. So, I can use that for Heresy as a Mortis, and I can also use that as... pardon me. And I can also use that as 40k Contemptor Dreadnought, which brings me to my next point. Well, 1.5, then we go to 1. So, 1.5 there was a tournament on in a fortnight ago, hosted by the Dark Artisan. If you haven't seen his channel, check him out. He's quite nice, and it's quite a nice load of battle reports he does. So, I was looking at the tournament, and it actually surprised us, because they did comp down on a load of stuff. Before, in the tournament scene was dying out a lot at my gaming area. This was because it didn't really have any comps, so everything was okay. And if people know what unrated 40k, let's call it, where you don't comp it down, you tend to get a lot of power players which are very overpowering. I'm not saying the term overpowered, but more akin to overpowering and shutting down entire play styles of play. For example, you know, the last two tournaments were cancelled because there was only 2 players. Before this tournament that came up, the two before that were cancelled because there was only 2 people who showed up. One with Waste Spam, another with Jet Bike Spam, both Craftworld Eldar Codex. So yeah, because of the unassisted assistance of comp of certain units as well, the tournament scene was dying, because my guess is people didn't really want to play that. It's a local tournament, it's not a high-end grand tournament like as you see in the LVOs in America and all that. Us Brits don't tend to have major big tournaments like that. So, but we tend to see a lot of the ITCs and the LVOs, and we tend to just nick rules off there and just put them there. So, yeah, it was comped down. What it was called the Divide and Conquer 40k tournament, which the Dark Artisan did put a report on his own channel. and it was basically, you had 2 separate 1,000 point lists, and then you combined them both and had 500 points for the third game. So you had 2 1,000 point games and the third and final game, which was 2,500. A very interesting point was the people who brought lists that were very powery and very, because I'm not trying to, well, I'm trying to be, I wouldn't say I'm trying to be nice around the subject, but I am trying to be not biased here. The ones who were trying to, I would say, not necessarily exploit the system, but try and cram as many of the overpowered units that is usually commonly referred to on wargaming forums and Facebook groups, such as Daka Daka, Warseer, and the Warhammer 40k groups, for the many Warhammer 40k groups on Facebook and all that, such as, you know, the usual Taudar, which was a 6th edition thing. I still don't fully believe that's a 7th edition thing, but then again, I haven't really fought against that. I've only may have fought against Taudar once with my Orks 1, which was actually quite interesting. That was an interesting story, but before I diverge and digress, there was stuff like that, and there was a lot of there was like waste spam and stuff, and they actually entered in the lower half of the table. So like you didn't see that many go to first, second, third. You did see Necrons get onto first place, but it wasn't really too, how would you say, it wasn't over the top. There was a lot of strong lists, but not over the top, and they didn't seem exploitive. Now obviously I wasn't taking part in the tournament because I want to get all my stuff painted first before I do any more battle reports or tournaments. But when I was looking at it, a lot of the lists that were in, and I think there was about 20 odd people, it didn't look that over the top, apart from a few people's lists. But the ones that did try to, how would I say, exploit the comps system, ended up being on the bottom half, which was actually quite interesting. So yeah, it was quite fun to watch as well, just seeing there was a variety of lists. I mean, yes, there was all flavours of Space Marine, and especially heresy armies that were just using the normal Space Marine Codex. But again, there was different chapter tactics being used as well, so it was a lot more variety. I was particularly impressed with the Necrons, because I know a lot of people say, they're the massive cheese of today, and heard in the world this, sky is falling, that kind of thing. But the list didn't seem over the top, but again, I haven't really fought it. I haven't really fought 7th edition Necrons that many times, and when I've ever did, I've literally just went Raptors, fly them up, bog them down and combat with a massive horde of skeletal bodies and just have fun. That's probably the best bit, because I know a lot of people like to, I wouldn't say complain, but how would you say this unbiasedly? Speak their concerns, so to say, about the resiliency of Necrons. Now, as someone who's known about the resiliency of Necrons since their 3rd edition Codex, yeah, I've grown to just accept that that's just their shtick, you know. I mean, personally, I wish they kept the phase out rule, because I'm a dick, but alas, it was not meant to be. And when people express concern about the resiliency of Necrons, I don't usually tend to give a stuff, not because of any spite or anything, it's because I like combat, and if things won't die in combat and I can just keep on a fight forever, that doesn't bother me. Again, I'm a very close combat oriented. I've noticed with myself, I'm more of a close combat orientated playstyle, which is weird because I like guns as well. So it's just one of those things, eh? Ooh, the cider raspberry by Storatos catches you off guard every time. It's nice, but it catches you off guard. It's the aftertaste, a little kick. It's a bit cheeky, but still. And yeah, so when it comes to Necron stuff, I look at them and just think, yeah, I want to fight them more so I can get the hang around them. Because when I look at the boards and stuff, when I see Necrons fight, I automatically immediately go into armchair mode, and I don't speak it verbally because I'm not backseat gaming for anyone. But I just think, that's what I would do. That's what I would do. I think everyone does that, especially on battle reports and stuff. This is what I would do. This is what I would do. But they won't speak until after they've seen the battle report or after the battle's happened. It's the silent armchair wheeling, not armchair wheeling, armchair generaling kind of thing. Obviously, never speak it out loud because then that becomes backseat gaming and that gets on everyone's nerves. Unless it's a new player that both consenting players or all consenting players in the game give you permission to give tactics and stuff to new players, and obviously that's alright. But again, I digress. So, what does that lead us to? Well, key thing I noticed from the tournament as well was that they allowed Forge World. And it wasn't, you had a few restrictions like one Lord of War, not just for Forge World but in general for 40k, Games Workshop Plastics and Forge World, which I kind of enjoyed because it was nice not to see that people were just spamming needlessly the big stuff, because I find in unadulterated or unrated, that's the word I'm precisely looking for. The unrated 40k, so to speak, where you don't have any comp and stuff, is that the game system seems to reward multiple small units backed up by big stompy things. I mean, a key example is biker spam. You just get a load of multiple small units of bikers, you get a Farseer, maybe a council on war bikes, and you just go off casting invisibility left, right and centre. Cast Guide, cast Doom, have fun. The key one is always the Waith Knight, because, you know, jet bikes and Waith Knights always go 12 inches, so they're not behind, so they're not waiting for each other, and they're at the same speed as each other, so you just go invisibility, visibility, visibility. GG! So, yeah, it was nice to see there was a comp system which seemed to reward players for playing more creatively or sticking to the objectives, rather than just going, right, pure out tabling and curb stomping. So I really enjoyed watching that tournament. But before I digress any further, because I digress a lot, we're going on to the Forge World stuff, and as I say, you've seen these. I'm wanting to do my list direction, which is what I'm coming up to, is, well, after maybe a long time waiting, I finally got this. I was like, oh, and I was like, yes, and I was like, yeah, this thing is just, I mean, how can you say no to Fire Raptors? And let's get to the page, shall we? There we go. My favourite page in the book. Well, it's a tie between that and the other one, Contempted Dreadnoughts. Just kind of thing. Oh, I just love Contemptors. I love them. They're just, the model's just so nice, and just the fact that they just walk around, just taking hits and just don't give a care. Unlike Dreadnoughts, which is actually quite interesting in this, if anyone hasn't seen. But the way to roughly describe Imperial Armour 13 in all seriousness is, you've got the Chaos Space Marine book, and this is the Old Testament from, like, if you're trying to equate it to religious texts and stuff. This is kind of like the Old Testament, where it was very punishing on the player. And then you have Imperial Armour 13, Lost in the War Machines of the Lost and Damned, and this is the New Testament, which is very rewarding for playing Chaos Marines and Traitor Guard, because the last quote of the book is Traitor Guard Codex. I'm like, oh, that's so beautiful. I want to do Nostroman survivors on a ship. Well, not Nostroman survivors, but Nostroman crewmen. So I'd love to do a Space Hulk-esque kind of thing with a Night Lord affiliated crewman that's just been kidnapped left, right and centre and just went, we have come for you, grab you by the neck, you're now our slave, ta-da! So yeah, one of the main things I picked up, and this was a major thing, because in the past video, in video number 1, I was talking about wanting plastic contemptors, and I was getting a bit frustrated that we didn't have that we couldn't have a sort of drop pod army. Now, once I get up to the page, come on, you're almost there. Yep. Hello. We're talking about Chaos Dreadclaws here. Yep. Well, as you've seen on the Google Plus page and the Facebook page, you've probably seen me plastic Dreadclaw already. Just need to do a little few tweaks on the bottom of it to make it look like a whole thing, which I'm going to ask around for the community and stuff. If anyone's got any conversion ideas to, if I actually bother to grab a little thing here, to actually convert the bottom of this to like a massive hole thing. So the only thing I'm thinking about is using plasticard, but I'm not very experienced with plasticard. I find it hard to reach, find it hard to get plasticard. But if anyone's got any other ideas, because I was just thinking about just sticking some Gene Stealer sidearms on the bottom and just go, it's a little bit warped from the warp. Even though Night Lords don't really use the warp that often, but, well, it depends on the Warlord, really. I mean, the whole company thing just shattered and shambled after Kurz died and Sevatar went missing. I'm still a believer that Sevatar's still alive, and I hope, and I'll talk about this more with the Wulfen case, that they bring certain characters back, especially Sevatar for the Night Lords. Maybe a bit warped up in plastic, kind of thing. But yeah, I've digressed a lot already. Chaos Dreadclaw Drop Pod can be taken as dedicated transport for Chaos Space Marine Chosen squads. Chosen, I can see where that can go. That opens up a lot of possibilities. Yes, possibilities. But Chaos Space Marines, so I don't have to pay attention to the sodding Rhino that gets one-shot every time. Oh, yes. Now, granted, I'm paying 100 points and I don't get any options with it. It's just what it is. Which is a shame, because I wish I could upgrade Dirge Casters on it, because drop pod in, if it survives, disembark the unit after a turn. If it still survives, that Tower Army doesn't overwatch. Yes, I would be happy with that. But, alas, you get what you're given. It's 100 points, so it's a little bit costly, but in all honesty, it's a flyer as well. It doesn't stay mobile, it just goes down, waits a turn, drops them off, flies around the place, smacks into other vehicles and monster screeches and whatever, yeah. And as it shoots down, hits the ground, it also makes a little explosion. Like Iron Man Escort just hit where Iron Man hits the ground, there's a massive crack or a hole or a cavern in the ground. Pardon me. And yeah, it's the kind of the godsend I've been wanting, because all I've ever wanted for a long, well, that hair decided to be murky, but all I've wanted for a long time was a drop pod army. This is the closest I'm going to get, and I'm taking it with full steam. Night Lords are coming back. Issue number 1, Night Lords, Imperial Armour 13. Now, for those who don't know, I like to make lists so that I don't diverge to completely and forget where I'm at. Especially on videos like these, because the amount of takes that it takes, I'll tell you this. The first video I tried doing without a checklist like this, and I made a good 10 takes, each a half an hour in, before finally calling it a night and trying on another day. So these are kind of a godsend as well for me. I love my thinking. So, the Dreadclaw drop pod, I'm having a drop pod force. You can stick these as dedicated transports for Contemptors. Yes, yes and yes. I know people will go to the Cabahydrus Assault Claw. I have no idea how to pronounce it. It's the Kahawibidis, the bigger drop pod with missiles on all its sides. Yeah, I can't pronounce it. If someone would like to correct me and pronounce it or type it in of how to pronounce, by all means, please go ahead. I would be extremely grateful, and it might make us not look like I'm a massive cock up on camera. So, drop pod army, yes. Night Lords, yes. Fuse the both together without resorting to heresy, yes. Now, I am going to be doing heresy still. It's going to take me a lot longer than I thought, because I just want to be careful with my money and save up and stuff. Which leads me on to the next thing. I am going to post a video about this, not the experience, but maybe me gang. This isn't Batman. We had a few games Necromunda today. We got 3 altogether, and by God, it was fun. It was the first edition rules, I think, when it first came out. I did Pit Slaves. There was another one. I can't remember the gang. There was Goliaths, the Goliath gang, and what do you call it? No, I can't remember the third gang. It was kind of like, it wasn't rat skins, but it looked similar to rat skins. I can't remember the exact name of the gang, unfortunately, which I apologise for in advance. But we had so much fun. I converted my own gang using racks, and because I've got a shed ton of Skitarii bits and Cult Mechanicus bits from the Cataphrons and all that, that still would make a great Sabaton song, just the word Cataphron in all its heavy metal glory. Yeah, that word does sound like Sabaton would use it. But, yeah, I had a ton of bits, and what happened was I just said, right, so buy a box of racks, convert them all up. So I've got one with a buzzsaw, I've got two of the classic minis, one with a buzzsaw and a plasma gun, and the other with a claw and a bolt pistol. That's the classic minis, and I've got another one where I've 5 other guys, one with a buzzsaw and a pistol, me leader, which I call Mean Machine because he's got an oversized claw from the hydraulic claws from the Cataphron breaches or destroyers, the hydraulic claws. I basically just cut it off, slammed it onto his arm. I got the mini claws from the Cataphron destroyers that go underneath the gun arm, I think, round about the armpit area, and cut up a few little claws from there, cut off a few of the bone, spinal cordy extended bits on the racks, and just glued them down, super gluing them. And I tell you what, fantastic, they look absolutely gorgeous. I will be posting up a video of this, but they look, to me, they look very Blanjitsu-esque, which I love. The Blanjitsu bit in Warhammer Visions. Like I say, it's just pretty pictures at the end of the day, and I know that, but I'm a guy who likes pretty pictures. What can I say? So, we were having a few games and I got royally screwed over. My dice just hated us. It really was. It was one of those cases. I was like, yeah, I'm hitting. Let's wound. I wound once and twice and a few times. But yeah, it was a case of also being sandwiched a lot, and I kind of need a heavy, so I'm going to go for I'm going to try and convert Server, because I've got a spare Crypt Horror body from the Vampire Counts range. It's the big ghoul things, the troll ghoul things, and I'm going to take off its head. I've got the alternate Magos head where it's flat on the top. No, it's not like a pointed hood, and I'm going to stick that head onto the thing, onto the thrall on the Horror's body. Then I'm going to add a big gun, chop off the arm, add a big gun, maybe add a chainsaw on the other arm, and call it Servitor. That's called Tiny, because some may call it Tiny, even though it's huge. See, Tiny? It's great. And that would be the gang complete, but I've got to build that. Once I build that, the video's coming right up. So, but I did really enjoy Necromunda. It was a lot of fun. I mean, what I liked about it was you could feel your gang growing, you could feel a story taking place, and you could feel the motion of events setting in where people are going to settlements, getting credits, like a taxman kind of thing, but a bit more violent. And going to like hidden places where hidden Ariotech, where you get these sacred weapons and stuff, and you've busted in, you've just decided to sell them all, and you get tons of credits that way, and just stuff like that. And injury tables, it's like I had guys going out of action left, right and centre. I've had Mean Machine, me leader, go out of action, so like probably every game. We had 3 games today, or yesterday because it's not Sunday, and it was Saturday yesterday. So, yeah, they kept coming back though. They kept getting the safe roll, which was virtually unscathed. They just came back, but they couldn't go to like settlements or anywhere to collect more credits and stuff. But there was a few horrendous scars where I got a scar and I gained the fear rule, and there was another one where I got captured on me plasma gunner. So he was right now he's currently captured and will be sold off for bounty. So I was sad. I was laughing, but I was sad on the inside. But yeah, that was an utterly great game. It was nice, refreshing. It felt relaxed. We're all having a good laugh. The key highlight, or the key man of the match, in each matches for me was my guy with the auto rifle. He was an utter crack shot. Whenever he fired, he was always on target. He may not have wounded as many times, but he was hitting the majority of his targets, and that was great for me. That was good enough. But yeah, then I sort of like bottled it because I started taking casualties, and you had to make a roll of 8 or less because I think that's some sort of leadership for gangers or gang leaders, and I ended up bottling it in all 3 games, I think. But yeah, so that was quite funny. I thought it was, but another thing that I liked was my opponent brought in his own terrain, which was homemade, and he crammed the board full of it. We were playing by a 3 foot by 3 foot board, and he crammed it full. And it had all sorts of bridges and layers. I've got pictures, and I will be posting it up on the Facebook page of the Warforge. I might post it up to Google Plus, depending if I can be bothered or if I can. Sometimes Google Plus is a weird place where it feels like it wants to be trippy and so irritating at the same time. It's a weird place. I managed to navigate myself around it, but it can be annoying at times. But yeah, so I will try and post it up on Google Plus anyway, in all seriousness. The pictures from the Necromunda, but it was a fun game, and it's just the terrain. I like bridges. What I would love to do for a 40k board is have a busy city themed terrain board, but you could have like tanks going under like multiple bridges and like knights crossing roadways, checking around the corners as like these bridges intervene and intertwine and stuff, shooting upwards onto enemy units instead of just always on like the ground level or just one level up from the building. That would just be so immersive. I really would love to see more variety of boards like that as well. I think that would just be absolutely grand. I'm very tempted to make my own scratch built terrain. It wouldn't be exactly like professional because I'm not a pro builder when it comes to scratch built things such as terrain. But I reckon stuff like that would look really, really cool. Especially for a 40k board. Apologies. But yeah. So that was Necromunda. That was 1.7. Now going to the second one, War Machine. Yes, I am doing Signar. And yes, I did buy Epic Striker, the one on foot, Striker 2 I think that's called, and some Stormblade Infantry. I bought the whole set in multi-part plastic, or I think it's Restic, where it's resin plastic and it's just hard and it wants to be hard but brittle at the same time, and it's an utter pain in the arse to clean up the mold lines, I'll be honest. But at the moment I've got 5 built. I need to build the leader because I need to go to a kettle, which I will do soon, and boil the kettle, put it in, put his main weapon in, because you've got a straight pole where his hands are already moulded on, and then you've got the actual weapon which seems to go right like a helter-skelter snake thing. So yeah, I'm going to have to straighten that out. So once I get that done, is on both the squads, I only got the maximum unit just in case I wanted to edit up anything in the future, rather than just having to wait weeks on end for stuff. So with that out of the way, once I get it all built and stuff, I will be painting it. I'll have like 10 guys to paint, and then some. and then Striker, because I've painted up all the war jacks that I need. Thinking about getting this insurance, not too sure. But I need to paint up my force. Okay, I need to paint up a whole entire new force, I'll be admit. I didn't realise about the gun majors or the Black 13th, but hopefully I'm going to paint it all up, and I'm hopefully going to have some battle reports against Kador, because I know my friend who has Kador loves his Kador. He's got everything he needs for his Kador. He's busy painting it up, and I would love to get some more battle reports on a variety of games now on this channel, especially if I'm going to practice a little bit more with different editing software, hopefully soon. So that's War Machine. We'll go on to Batman now. Okay, apologies for the cut. I had to cut it because it's got like a half an hour time limit. After like 33 minutes or so, it just goes. So once I switch it off, make a new cut, everyone's happy as Larry. Oh la la. So the third one's Batman. I'm busy painting up because I want to talk about new FAQ, which I'm very excited for. In the new FAQ, you can use psychics as bosses, which they've already established before. But this time, the funding rep, if it's got a funding rep, it goes to 0, which is major. This is a big thing for Batman, because the cost and tax, even for a sidekick to be counted as a boss, was always something that people still kind of put off. So now you've got likes of where it really helps the law with Commissioner Gordon, who was always $200. Now he's free in funding. You've got Killer Frost for free, it's $150. The boss is now 0. And to me, not as important as Killer Frost, because that means Freeze Gang, obviously, and I'm totally biased for Freeze Gang. But my second most important one for me is Deathstroke. $250. Now 0. So he's only 145 rep. That's a lot of rep still. As you see in the Arkham files, he's a lot of rep. But when he's 0 funding, you mean I can get more upgrades for me characters? Yeah, I like the sound of that. I apologise, I've got a little bit of an eyelash here and it's really starting to irritate us. But yeah, Deathstroke will be utterly amazing. I just can't wait to do it. On a side note, I did read up on the Court of Owls, not from a wiki. I did read that first, but I saw all the main Batman graphic novels, Court of Owls Volume 1, City of Owls Volume 2, and Night of the Owls, which doesn't have volume because it's a collection of all the Bat family's stories about the Night of the Owls, which was Volume 2. And it was a very, very interesting story. The Court of Owls, I didn't think they'll be as interesting as I thought. I knew the concept was going to be the Illuminati dressed up as owls for the Gotham theme, with Captain America's super soldiers that are also dressed up as owls, which have a weakness to being frozen because that's how they stay alive for so long. And by cryostasis sleep. Sorry if that's a spoiler. And they were a lot more interesting than I thought, because the concept is roughly exactly as I've described, but the way it's been portrayed in the stories was very interesting. I liked a lot of it where you had Lincoln March. Now, I'm not trying to spoil it, but Lincoln March does something which is an incredible, well, I wouldn't say it's an incredible plot twist, but it sort of fit the metaphorical themes of Batman, where it was where supposedly every Gotham rogue has a personality trait of Batman, apart from the Joker, because the Joker's the bipolar opposite of Batman. But on the same lines, he's the same. I'm not going to get into too much of it because I'm really irritated by this eyelash, but and then that means I'm not really thinking as straight as I would like to think. And it was very interesting how they pulled that off, and it felt, because it's fit, I think that's what it fit with another personality aspect of Batman which hadn't been explored before. I thought that was very unique and very interesting, to the point where it's actually made us want to start a Court of Owls gang. Yeah, there was an interesting bit in Night of the Owls where it's a collection of stories from the Bat family and a few of their vigilante sidekicks and stuff. Whereas from the Birds of Prey, and you had Katana with Husband, which is a sword. Now, I haven't read too much on the story about it, but from what I gather is a husband's soul's trapped in the sword. I could be wrong here. If I'm wrong, put a comment down and just say it's actually this way, all that. But apparently the sword kills people and then steals their soul, and Katana goes to go right into the heart of a Talon, which is what the Captain America Super Soldier assassins are called. And apparently the sword called Husband talks to her and says the creature has no soul, which is like, pfft, it has a conscience, it can speak, it knows its memories from past time, but it doesn't have a soul. I mean, that's warped. Now That's not. There's no pun intended there, and there's no reference to 40k there. That's just warped. I can sort of get my head around it, but blew my mind. I'm telling you now. Just wow. Just that concept was like wow. There was also another bit where Red Hood and the Outlaws, where it consisted of Speedy. This is all New 52. Red Hood, Jason Todd. Sorry if that's a spoiler. And Starfire from the Teen Titans all together, just doing cooking up the crazy kind of thing. And they have to go and protect Mr. Freeze as he's a target by the Court of Owls during the Night of the Owls. And you've got a brilliant scene now. Obviously this is me being a fanboy about Freeze here. But you've got a brilliant scene where Freeze actually fights Starfire because he doesn't want children to interfere with his work or protect him because he thinks he can protect himself. And he actually holds a good solid fight against Starfire right until Speedy throws a taser arrow right into his dome. It's like a little sucker thing, sucks onto his dome and just gives him like a good few watts of energy. So yeah, I thought that was interesting that like a Gotham rogue like Freeze could stand up to a powerful metahuman that is Starfire. Oh, pardon me. So anyway, so yeah, it's kind of made us want to start a Court of Owls gang, but I'm backing away slowly, only because, not because I don't want to start them, but because I have serious problems with that game. I really do. I'm just so addicted to the gangs and the minis, and it's just such a fun game at times. But I'm waiting for a free start set, which is hopefully to come very, very soon. Hopefully this week or next week we'll have the shots of hopefully the new Batman releases, because what Knights and Models have gone and done is release the Marvel Miniatures game. Now, good for them. I'm happy with them doing that. It's nice, and I know they've had a superhero game planned where they're going to do the DC superhero game as well, and say that they're not cross-compatible, but they're going to be the exact same rules, so you can cross-compatible them, but because of IP-based laws. And I'm not sure what's different about HeroClix. I know you can do it with HeroClix, but apparently, from what we've been told through various media sources such as Facebook groups and internet forums, is that the IPs have told them to keep them separate. So I think that for official tournaments and stuff, you're not going to be allowed to have the Justice League fighting the Avengers, but you could have in a friendly game, from what it sounds like, the Avengers fighting Justice League, and Ultron fighting Brainiac, and Darkseid fighting Thanos. Stuff like that. Stuff where the games made legends of themselves. So that's going to be awesome, but at the same time, part of me feels that if they slow down on the Batman releases because of this, part of me feels very irritated, because they have Batman so close to being perfect. They've got to work on organised crime. They won't see Gotham's Falcone and Maroni guys. Falcone and Maroni. The organised crime is basically the mafia. The two big crime bosses which people want is Falcone and Maroni. I'm a Falcone guy myself. I would happily do Falcone. But they've got to release starter sets for them, and they've got to support them. In addition, you've got obviously my favourite guy in the whole superhero genre, Mr. Freeze, and a Freeze gang. And the Freeze gang is absolutely... that would make my day. That I would literally be throwing my debit card right into the screen, yelling to take my money. Just take the card. I'll get 75 copies of the same start set. Yeah, so I would love to do that. I honestly would love to do that. But I've got to wait. And a lot of people have been waiting. You've also got other crews which need to be updated as much as new crews need to be started. For example, Ivy needs tree men. Ivy needs a lot more henchmen than just the 3 plants she has in Swamp Thing. She really needs a garden. She needs a vegetable patch. And Black Mask needs a little bit updating. Bane potentially as well. Leagues needs a few more ninjas and a few more bosses who could potentially hire ninjas. Penguin's there, Joker's there, Batman's there. They really need to be supporting existing gangs, which is why I was happy when the Court of Owls in January got a release for another start set there. So I was quite happy with that because it was nice to show that they are giving support to other gangs than just Joker and Batman constantly, which is a little bit annoying when you're waiting for that. In addition, they need to release the expansion book because the rules are starting to become a bit cluttered now. And I'm not talking about specialist rules to unique characters. I'm more talking about generic rules such as a supernatural trait, the magic special rule, cybernetic rule. They haven't got them in the rule book, and some cards just have the word and not the rule behind it. So it's annoying thinking that you'll open a card, think that's a nice, what's this rule do? Go through the rule book 300 times and still not find anything. Only to be told that's on some of the card that you can download on a website, which is a little bit of time wasting. I mean, I personally don't mind it myself. If I'm going to find out something, I'm going to find out something, but I can see why other people would be a little bit irritated or a little bit upset. So that expansion needs to come. We need to see, a lot of people want to see the vehicle rules as well and how they're implemented, because they've got the Batmobile from Arkham Knight. Whoopsies. But yeah, they want to be doing that. They've even announced gangs which aren't even in the rule book yet. They've got LexCorp. I want to see Mech Luthor. I want to see Mech Luthor fighting Mech Eddie from Arkham Knight. Because, come on, that would be awesome. I mean, I'm wanting to get Titan Bane because I want to fight Mech Eddie and I want to call it Pacific Rim. You got your Kaiju versus your Jaegers. Just for people who don't know, Mech Eddie is Riddler from the Arkham Knight game and he's in a massive mech suit. Well, I wouldn't say it's a suit, but it's like, imagine having a dreadnought but more scavenged and not wired in, and that's Mech Eddie. He's just sitting in a chair controlling it all, adding the brawn to his brains, so to say, because he's a typical megalomaniac like that. So yeah. In addition, I've got a freeze gang. Not in the conventional sense, I do, because of the psychic rules, Killer Frost is now zero funding, so I can have her, and I've decided I wanted a winter theme, so I went for Deadshot Origins, because he's wearing a winter coat and all that, and obviously Arkham City's Mr. Freeze, because that's the only Mr. Freeze we have, and it's Mr. Freeze in a freeze gang. I'm not exactly going to be playing Solomon Grundy if I don't have Mr. Freeze, and etc. So yeah, that was... I've got them three. I've got High Security Henchmen and a few other point filler henchmen as well. Waiting desperately for more games, because it's okay. The rules are there. You've got Killer Frost making people stand still, which is going to be extremely good against the likes of the Bat family, and more character-based heroes when you've got the stop rule, so it's like they begin movement before they actually move. You spend a special counter and stop them. They can't move. So you could literally just have them just sitting up on a rooftop and staying on that rooftop for the entire game if you wanted. She can also do that technically because if you play the counts correctly, she has dodge, so she can dodge bullet fire as long as your rolls are good. You've also got a good defense. You've got adaptable, so your defense 4, and what I usually do is just go defense 4, adaptability, gain a +1 defense, so it's just defense 5. Defense 5 with dodge is very good. Very, very good. Then we've got Mr. Freeze. Now, as the name suggests, he freezes things, and freezing things is a big rule in Batman. It's very big, to the point where it's just... It's not broken, but it's real fun. You can just freeze like members like Bane. I've had it one time where I froze Swamp Thing with a freeze grenade, and he stayed there. It stops particular items from moving around the place, and I love that idea because it's very in theme with the whole freeze rule, and it's very in theme with the game as well. It's the freeze gang special thing is to freeze things. So yeah, I really like that. And he goes round, and Deadshot literally just goes and fires at things, because what happens when you're frozen is that your defense goes lower. Once your defense goes lower, it's easier to shoot things. Deadshot just goes around, getting +1 rate of fire with rapid fire, so you can potentially get rate of fire 3 or 2, depending if you move or not, and just shoot up whatever freezes, and that's it. It's just solid blood damage everywhere, just going dee-dee-dee-dee-dee-dee. Wrist blasters, they're so good. Well, they're just so fun. They're just good and fun, just oh yeah. So, hopefully, once I get the freeze gang painted up, we should have more battle reports. But at the moment, the main reason why I haven't done more battle reports is because people in my area who have started investing in Batman are waiting for specific characters like Man-Bat and such. Again, this is why I'm always slightly... Whilst I love the game, I wouldn't be talking crap about the game if I've got 5 gangs. And I do, I think. I've got Bane, Scarecrow, Freeze, Hatter, Joker. Technically, you could class Deathstroke as one, because in sidekicks, Freeze, did I mention? I don't know. Arkham Knight, 7 to 8 gangs already, if you count sidekicks as bosses. But again, I'm waiting for other people to get Man-Bat and stuff so I can have more regular games, but at the moment it's nothing, because Cyborg and Hawkgirl, who are DC metahumans, come into the game. Again, I'm not trying to shit on people's parades, I'm not trying to shit on people, or I'm not trying to shit on Knights models, but it feels very messy considering the fact that this was meant to be the Batman Miniatures game, and we're seeing more generic DC metahumans from other places go, when there's a lot more that could be feeling more at home, such as Man-Bat. I would class him as a metahuman because he's transcended levels of... He's a mutant. He's technically a human. He's technically a mutant, but he's transcended. I wouldn't say mortality, but the human physical body for like a mutation superpower, you could say, of becoming a bat. Other stuff would be like Lincoln March, Iron Owl, and that would be cool. You've got so many other things, but again, I'm waiting for other people to get miniatures that they want, so hopefully that should be coming soon though. Hopefully. I'm hoping they'll get a load of stuff, because I can't wait to do more battle reports, especially with the one-line gang. I want to do so badly with so many stuff, especially with 300 rep. I've got the Jabberwocky, which is a Croc, and I've got the one-line gang, and I want to use that so badly, as well as me freeze gang more. So that was Batman. On to the next one. So I went on Google Plus and asked around on the Legion of Gamza group or community or collection. I can't remember what Google Plus calls them. But Idic Beer, also known as Nick, asked, what do I think of the Wulfen and Curse of the Wulfen campaign? Thank you for giving me that question, Nick. I'm very appreciating the asking the question. The Wulfen, I'm in a love-hate relationship with them, if I'm honest. I like them from a background standpoint. I like how they've sort of started accelerating the background, saying, this has happened to Fenris, and Fenris is fucked up, and the Wulfen have came back. And I thought, you know what, that's nice. I like it. What I don't like is the rules. Again, it's one of those things with Games Workshop. I'm not trying to shit on its parade, but every time I try and think of a counter to it, because I just think it's a 4-up save, you can get through that. And then so many people just go, well, Thunder Hammers and Storm Shields and God knows what else fuckery happens, and I get to assault on your turn, which is the big point that I'm frustrated with. For example, you get to assault on my turn if I insult first. that to me feels like a orc rule. That's something orcs should have. You know, I feel like that was personally there to rub it in, so to say. Now, obviously, this is me talking in a personal bias way, where I personally feel a bit snubbed out or a bit stamped on, so to say. And I'll happily admit that. This is what I'm saying is 100% bias. I'm not trying to speak objectively. This is just my personal frustration. So you've got these orcs who, like mega knobs. I can see mega knobs. I can see knobs doing that. I can see Wulfen doing that, but why did they get the rule first? Why? What possessed Games Workshop for another Imperial army to have a good rule like that? Just like I say, I mean, you got demons. That's another thing I like. But before I digress too much about demons, I'll move on to that first. Is the models to me look fine. I know a lot of people think, oh, well, it's McWulfen and Wolf of Wolf and Wolf of Wolf, Thunderwolves and Wolf things that shouldn't be mentioned on the internet. And I look at it and I just think the Wulfen's always been a key aspect of the fluff, unlike Thunderwolves, which were more of a recent integration of the fluff. Fluff means background for those who don't know. But it's never really bothered us that much. To me, at least it's somewhat a different variety from other Marines of Twilight, Space Marines, I mean, Blood Angels. At least it gives something different instead of just being another shade. Which is why I wish Black Templars would have a new codex, because God, they're the only Space Marine chapter along Crimson Fist, which I like. It is one of those love-hate relationships when it comes to the Imperial Fist. I hate Imperial Fist and I hate Dawn because I find that he's Steve Jobs of 40k. That's my opinion. He just goes around and sees Puterbo's ideas and just goes, yoink, it's mine, I get all the praise and glory. GG Puterbo, or how to pronounce the anyway, Primarch's name. So I don't like Dawn for that. To me, he's Steve Jobs of 40k. And I don't like the Imperial Fist because of Dawn. But I love the successor chapters, I love the Crimson Fist, and I love the Black Templars. I love Sigismund. Those are the characters I like. It's weird. It's one of those things I've just learned to just go off the floor with. Oh, cheeky. But again, the Wulfen, Curse of the Wulfen, was... It seems like a good idea, but I fear that the Wulfen's just going to get another thing that the internet's going to get railed up on. I really am. Because it's one of those things where it does look like it's a fluffy option, and it looks like it's going to be fun. It could be fun to play against, but I also see so much that people will exploit out of it, and it makes us just sigh in disbelief. Again, I'm not trying to shit on people's parade just for the sake of it, but I already start predicting in my head. I just start predicting, right, so instead of people going for what they want, they'll just exploit it, min-max, do this thing, that thing, and then have an overpowered force. I know there's the obvious option of don't play against that guy, but again, this goes into so much Games Workshop politics that I'm not going to discuss, because to me, if I was going to discuss about balance and 40k and all that stuff, I will make a separate video for that, because to me it's a lot more in depth than people actually realise. Or, well, not realise, but it's a lot more in depth than what people think. But again, that's just my opinion. I think the Curse of the Wulfen, the demon stuff, is going to be nice. It's nice to see the Chaos Demons get an update. I apologise. Oh, sorry. I had a really bad itch in the back of my ear here. And it was really annoying us. Just said be polite, take it off camera. And I like how the demons got an update. It's nice to see that they're focusing on a bit of chaos here and there instead of just focusing on Demonkin or Age of Sigmar. So yeah, it's a love-hate thing. I love the ideas behind the Wulfen. I love how they're accelerating the fluff. But again, the rules just they're there for people to exploit and then blame the game rather than the choices the player made. And that's just, it's unfortunate at the end of the day. So, with that going to talking about Mega Nobs and stuff, Orks. Finished my Orks. I'm not sure if I said this in the first one. Building them up now, and I'm going to paint them up. I'm not sure how far I'm going to paint them up because these beauties came, and I'm really liking the idea of a drop pod Night Lord's Force right now. But I'm seriously thinking about trying to get at least one army done. I've got my Orks done to a standard that I like. I want to get... I've already got more bikers. I'm going to convert the 6 bikers that I have, cut the upper torsos off of the boys, replace them with knob torsos of bike with power claws, have 5. I've got the War Boss, 4-draw War Boss biker boss with the power claw, or the buzzsaw thing. I want to do some of that. Because I love me bully boys, but I want a little bit of spice as well for alternate lists. But yeah, I'm really enjoying the Orks because I think I've figured out and I've cracked them when I was saying before about how the game rewards multiple small units and big stompy things. Well, for me, I've got multiple small units, but I don't have any super heavies. I do, but I don't usually use them a lot because I just feel like, if I'm being honest, I feel like a giant tosser. If I feel a stomper in like 2,000 points to 2,500 points, 3,000 points. I think this is just my old 4th edition ways of knowing when Apocalypse is introduced, and that's probably me setting me ways. But I always feel like a bit of a twat for feeling a stomper at lower points. So I try and avoid that. But the way I do it is fast units. Fast trucks are fast, 12 inches, so you've got 12 inches movement, 12 inches for flat out, and whatever the deployment range is. Deploying like Dark Eldar tactic style, where you just hide behind things and just then go, turn 1, race up. Shoot me, I don't care. Blows up, fine, disembark an extra 6 inches, deal with me. The only thing I can really think that could really deal with it is a lot of AP2 from Grav or Tau. Potentially Eldar, but that's really depending on the playstyle. Playstyle of the list. So yeah, there's a playstyle on the list from there. But I think it has a good chance of withstanding the Eldar tide. Let's split the ends. But yeah, I'm hoping to do a few more Orks. Now, last question. I've been a bit heavy, I'll admit. Been a bit personal with some of me replies, such as the Wulfen stuff. So, last question is from the Legion of Gamza community, from the Google Plus pages and stuff. And this is by Commissar Gamza. What does Slannesh do in his or her spare time? Well, I don't think that's safe for anything. I may have put a disclaimer before at the beginning of this video, but yeah. First off, I would think Hellraiser with more drugs. Think of the Human Centipede for just the kicks. And think of the Human Centipede with various Xenos spirits. That's what I think Slannesh does in his or her spare time. Personally, I think Slannesh is both. Because it's Slannesh. Why not both? Oh dear. But yeah, if I want to get more in depth or more in detail about that, that's going to be another 2.5. It would turn into more of a fan fiction thing, which I don't feel comfortable talking about. But thank you anyway for Commissar Gamza giving us that quite comedic last question. Thank you to the Legion of Gamza. I am a proud member, and if you want to sign up, as long as you abide by the new rules that went into effect, then you should be able to join no problem and stay in no problem. It's a nice place, it's a nice community. I enjoy the stuff, I enjoy the activities that Nick sends out, such as the painting challenge, which I need to get on top on with the use of the Bully Boys and Mega Knobs. So, thank you to Legion of Gamza for those questions. If you want to send any more questions, then please put a link in the description. This is the Warp Forge signing out, and remember, keep on forging.